Your Mind, Your Journey. This is a collaboration with Suria KLCC with our supporting partners, befrienders, Kuala Lumpur Malaysian Mental Health Association, NIAWA, and also Body Shop, Green Ribbon Group, Estee Lauder Group of Companies, and Babel. Let's give a huge shout out, Suria KLCC. Thank you very much for bringing the conversation of mental health for the first time right here at the Center Court.
I'm very honored to be here this afternoon. Actually, the very fact that this is their first time actually doing something like this, it's very rewarding, and it's something that what MIASA, what yourself, Puan Anita have been actually doing for a very long time now.
Yes.
Trying to break the stigma on mental health.
Yes, this is, Sofia, an extraordinary effort. And being MIASA, one of the mental health NGOs in the community, we are very honored, of course, with all our partners to be here. So I'm Anita, for those of you who don't know me, I run a mental health NGO, and how we are uniquely positioned in Malaysia because we ourselves are people with lived experience. We live with a mental health condition, Sofia, and many of our caregivers, and of course, people that are passionate for the cause of mental health. Now, Sofia, what are we going to be talking about today?
You know what, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of people that have been struggling about, having a lot of trouble about, and we're going to be talking about parenting and mental health.
Yes, indeed. We're both parents.
Yes, we are.
And we both have 2 children.
Yes, we do.
And both of us are good friends as well.
Yes, we are.
And we have also gone through mental health challenges. And we would like to normalize this discussion today.
Yeah, exactly. I think as a parent, it's something that a lot of us struggle with. And a lot of people here as well as probably dealing with this struggle, but not really admitting to it.
Right.
There's a lot of old school mentality where it's like, this is life, let's just swing with it, go with the flow, and if things get better, they get better.
Right. And the perception of society is we have to have it all together.
Yes.
But it's okay to not be okay, and this is the message that we would like to bring forth in today's discussion. Now, when we talk about parenting and mental health, being a parent, Sofia, isn't that a tricky job?
Okay, I'm a single parent,
Yes,
so it's a
you are.
one-man show, and I'm the mom, I'm the dad, and it is a very difficult challenge. It's a challenge, it's a job, it's a errand, it's
a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, and we as ourselves, we're the parent, we're the chef, we're the caretaker, we're the cleaner, we're the chauffeur, we're the doctor, we're the nurse, we're the everything when it comes to parenting, isn't it?
So there are a lot of challenges, but it's also a very rewarding and meaningful role, of course. So maybe we want to start with something positive first.
Yes.
So what is being as a mom and also maybe as a dad? How is this role meaningful to you? What is the joy of being a parent?
You know what? The very fact that we don't know what to expect as a parent.
Correct.
From the day we conceive the child to the day we give birth, it's a mind-boggling thing. And the very fact today that they're still alive.
That's a good thing.
Still
That's a
living.
good thing.
We managed to keep them up and running. We've fed them, we've clothed them, we've bathed them, we've given them a roof over their heads. And one of the most rewarding things that after all of that, the whole day passes is when they go to sleep, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. But I think what is important is to acknowledge that parenting isn't easy.
It's not.
Right? And we don't have it all figured out. We don't have all the answers.
Exactly.
But we do try our best.
And parenting books can only do so much.
Of course.
Every parent deals with their own thing. And when it comes to parenting, every child is a different person as well. So everything that comes in those books isn't necessarily going to work for you as a parent. So what we do as a parent, what we feel as the instincts that we have, that's kind of like, that's the power that we have. That's our superpower.
Right.
Is having an instinct of what do we think that our child needs? Because our child's a mix of me and your hubby, right? So we know what your hubby's like, we know what I'm like, and it's like, okay, I know how to deal with this. Because that's the kind of characteristics we have.
Right. So we want to talk about the importance of taking care of our mental health as a parent, and also how to support our child if they are indeed going through mental health challenges, right? Because obviously when we look at the numbers, right, folks, we're looking at, if you look at this right here, the data came out last year from WHO. We are looking at the prevalence of anxiety and depression has increased by 25%, Sofia. That's insane. 25% on average, every country across the globe, right?
And that's just the numbers that have been calculated.
Right, that's correct.
Numbers we know.
Right. And so a lot of people are struggling, and we want to have that conversation to see, what are the needs of people today, right? Especially parents and children. And because if we look at the data as well, 50% of all mental health conditions begin as young as 14 years old. So can you imagine what happens before that?
Yeah.
So it's a buildup of a lot of things. We talk a lot about bullying in school, peer pressure, a lot of trauma happening in a kid's life, and how that eventually affects their mental health. So what can we do collectively as a society?
It is, you know what they say, it takes one a village to raise a child, right? So all of us as a community, it's very, very important to acknowledge all of this.
Right.
It's something that, especially acknowledging the child. I have my own children who are under the age of 14 and already dealing with all of this, bullying and everything. But for me as a parent, I think it's very important for us to be involved in our child's lives.
Definitely.
And if we cannot be involved in our child's lives, if they don't want to speak to us, then I ask them to speak to someone else who I feel that they trust, but someone that I know.
Correct.
So if it were my children, I'll be like, go to Puan Anita, go to you, Auntie Anita, or go to anyone else that they feel that they need to go speak to. So I think it's especially important to be able to acknowledge the fact that it's not just an adult problem,
Right.
it's a child's problem as well.
Right. We would like to provide a safe space.
Yes.
We want to be able to hold space for our kids,
Yes.
and to make them feel heard and also seen, right? So we want to encourage them to be able to speak out, right? To have an open communication, which is really important.
And it's all, and when it comes to children, they feel that they cannot speak to their parents.
Right.
They feel that there's something that,
There's a barrier,
boundary,
right?
Yeah,
There's a barrier.
that they can't cross, because what if they get angry? What if she doesn't
Right.
like it?
Right.
Last night, my youngest is 9 years old. No, she's 10 years old now. She just turned 10, and she came into my bedroom last night crying. Because last year she had lost her grandmother, and she just started crying. Why am I thinking about her? Maybe she could still be alive if I
Trying to
stand
process
her.
all of that, right?
So I love the fact that she comes to me. And if I were to do anything, she'd go to the toilet and then she'd come back and then she'd be like, wait, mommy, you're still my therapist. Just go to the toilet.
Right. So you are that safe space for
I'm
her.
very thankful that I have that safe space.
All right, for those of you that are following us or watching us through social media, if you have any questions or comments, please drop it in the box. Sharifah Sofea and I, we are live from KLCC and the Center Court talking about parenting and mental health, but really just anything, anything in relation to mental health. And this is a campaign called Your Mind, Your Journey, which will run till the 15th of October, this Sunday. So there will be a lot of activities, programs, talks, art sessions. There's even a discussion pods where you can have individual consultations and also counseling, therapy, peer support session. And what is awesome this year as well, we have continued our calm room. So if you work within this vicinity, you can come during your lunch break, maybe your breakfast break as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and spend some time in the calm room where there is some digital immersive art.
And I see that there's a lot of workplace mental health knowledge groups as well, which definitely around here there's a lot of offices as well that I think it's very, very important to actually be aware that there's a pool.
Yep.
How is mental health in your office?
Right.
Do you go to HR? Do you go to someone that's outsourced? All this kind of thing. And I think it's very, very important that all this knowledge is actually shared. And you actually take the knowledge that's on the walls. If you need more, you've got the workshop hubs over there. There's definitely an information booth as well that you can actually speak to someone and reach out?
Right. On Friday, we had our first session here on the first day of this campaign. And it was very interesting because we had one guy from Hungary that, when we finished and he came up to me and he said, Puan Anita, I think we should not limit the conversation just, amongst people that are with, living with depression or anxiety, etc. But really addressing the normal people that today also go through mental health challenges, Sofia.
I feel that that's very, very important because, yes, not everyone is dealing with mental health challenges, but
Most people are.
your friend might be dealing
Right.
with mental health challenges.
Right.
Your sibling, your child, your mother, your father, your uncle, your auntie. So being aware of these challenges is definitely something that you can actually be able to validate or to be able to acknowledge that someone else is dealing with this.
Right.
Rather than if we want to just listen about it because it's about us, that's very selfish, right?
And it all begins with knowledge. So there's no shame, there's no stigma, there shouldn't be at least any stigma when we would like to open up about mental health. So those of you that want more information and if you need help and support, you can come right here at the center court, at the concourse level, where there's a lot of information. We've got our volunteers standing around that they will be able to help you with providing all these information. Yeah.
Yeah, so the workshops are going on over there as well. There's this big schedule on the side over there to see what kind of workshops and what kind of activities are happening for everyone to be able to join in.
Yep, and you can also catch the schedule at Suria KLCC's Instagram, I think on all their social media handles and also all our partners, obviously. Now, Sofia, maybe we want to go back to our conversation and talk a little bit more on parenting and mental health. Now, with the challenges of parenting, what do you think? How does that impact one's mental health? Now, for me, if I may share, when I first became a parent, it was very difficult, right? Yeah. There's no manual. I didn't know how to become a parent. It was very challenging for me because I didn't know how to ask for help, right? Because for a woman, typically, we helm a lot of roles, right? And we don't typically ask for help. So asking for help wasn't something normal for me. And what happened was when others saw that I was struggling and they tried to support me, I did not know how to receive that help. So that was also a struggle. So I think this is what happens to a lot of women today, right? We don't know how to ask for help and we surely don't know how to receive help. And that was how I fell into this deep and dark hole, struggling with a mental health condition, and I couldn't see a way out of it, Sofia.
I've been in that dark hole with you, Anita.
Exactly.
It's a very scary, very lonely place.
It is a very lonely place. It's a very scary place, and we would like, as much as possible, for no one to experience what we have experienced and gone through.
I wouldn't want it for anyone, even if it was to someone that I did not like. I would not pray for that on anyone at all. That's definitely. I mean, I feel you. I acknowledge.
Thank you.
The struggle that you went through.
Right.
And how
so
did you get
difficult.
yourself out of that dark hole?
Oh, it took a long time. I think 2.5 years, really, of struggling, being in multiple rock bottoms, going through a lot of stress, feeling really overwhelmed, a lot of anxiety, feeling really lonely, a lot of sadness, feeling numb, anxious. Can you imagine? All these different emotions, and I lost functionality in life, right? I could no longer function as a normal human being. And it's a very difficult place to be in, of course. And I wouldn't, be able to be here today with all of you if it wasn't because of the support that I got, but only after I asked for it. Because facade-wise, really, guys, we look like everyone else. So our challenges are not immediately evident to the next person, right? So your colleagues can't see it, your friends can't see it, your family can't see it. They can only see it if you tell them.
I totally agree, and 2.5 years, that's a long time. I think I went through the same thing. And yes, we're always told what to do, told what to think, told how to parent, told how to look after our children and all this kind of thing, but it becomes so overwhelming that we've not been able to actually breathe.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
And for me, like, I'm very, very happy that you had the support system that you needed when you asked for it. But sometimes, like for me, for instance, I know I had that support system. I never did ask for it, and I had to deal with it on my own, and that wasn't easy either. We all have a big ego, and we feel that, you know, so we can do this.
No, because there's a lot of shame attached to it. Right?
Yes,
There's a lot of
definitely.
fear attached to it. And we internalize that stigma.
Yeah.
We don't, because we know the moment we talk about it openly, then all these labels come in, right? People judge you, and as a society, we're quick to judge, even though we don't understand it. And that's the challenge right there. Now, those of you that are watching, if you have any questions or comments, please drop it in the comment box.
Anyone that's on the floor as well, if you do have any questions or any comments, we're more than glad to take those in, and we can actually discuss this together.
Right. Maybe we want to walk around a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's ask some folks some questions.
We've got quite a few parents here. How's being a daddy? Things alright? You look like you're from work or something? Yeah? Everything going well? Are we sure?
Okay. Hi. Right. Even when we talk about men's mental health, it's extremely highly stigmatized, guys. So a lot of times, if you're a man, if you're a guy, people say, you know, man up. Boys don't cry, because you're leaders of the family, right? You're supposed to be physically healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, and obviously this is entirely untrue and inaccurate, right? Because we're human beings, we're not robots. Every person struggles, right? We all struggle with
I
something.
think we feel that being a parent and actually having children and everything, a lot of the weight goes on the mother's shoulders, right? But we tend to close a blind eye and think that the dads are not doing something just as equally as we are.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's also the challenge right now, and we see, if we talk about mental health, it's very much related to the conversation of suicide as well. Now, when we talk about suicide, folks, we hope to break that taboo and stigma as well, because the moment we talk about it, it is as if we're giving permission for people to be open about it, and we need and we must get people to talk about it, normalize it, so they can seek for the help that they very much need and require, right?
I definitely agree, Puan Anita, because when it comes to suicide, we get the chills. A lot of people get the chills when you just say the word, right?
Exactly.
Why are we talking about suicide? What's wrong with you?
Right.
Don't talk about that. It's
Exactly.
taboo.
Right.
Right? So it's great that we're allowed to speak about this, because it makes not just the person that's listening to it comfortable, but the person that's actually thinking about it. We think about it and hope, we hope that it's not something they want to think about all the time. Just reach out and deal with those thoughts.
Right. And also, when we talk about the conversation of suicide, Sofia, we also want to share with all the folks that are here watching and also joining us through social media, is that we're currently running our
Suicide First Aid
road show throughout the nation, where we are both, Sofia and I, we are certified trainers for what we call ASSIST, Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. We're able to train you if you are interested in providing help and support for people that are in need or within means to end their lives via suicide. And one life lost is one too many, and suicide is 100% preventable, and that is why we must have this conversation, and it takes a collective effort to obviously prevent suicide.
Yes, Puan Anita, it's like, when people talk about suicide first aid, this isn't something that, we're going to actually be able to help someone stop the thoughts of suicide full stop. It's a band-aid. It's helping that situation at that point in time to be able to avoid this from happening, right? So it's not something that, we're not therapists or anything. That's not what we are. But it's something that it's very needed, not just for people like ourselves who are already in the not industry. I don't like to call this an industry. It's not an industry.
Within the space?
Yes, the space. But it's everyone. Everyone. Your neighbor needs it. Your best friend needs it. Your colleague needs it. It's definitely knowledge, which is so powerful.
It is, and we would like to empower the community so that no one is left behind. Now, if someone reaches out to you and says, I feel like ending my life, I feel that I'm not worth it, nobody cares about me, nobody loves me, that we know how to respond effectively, and this is what this training will help you to do as well. To prepare you, and it is a verbal intervention, not a physical one, and it is 85% you doing the work and only 10 to 15% lecture. So it's very practical, so you'll have the tools, you will be more confident in helping those that are struggling. Now, coming back to the parenting conversation, Sofia.
All right.
So we spoke about the challenges. We spoke about how tricky it is becoming a parent. Now, this is when parental burnout can also happen, right? So it's not just burnout within the workplace context, but also being a parent, we can also go through burnout. Yeah. So how do we manage? That's the question. How do we manage parenting burnout?
Well, how do I manage parenting burnout? I would like to say that, it can be difficult because our children can be very overwhelming. Especially when our children are very, very young as well. They've got so much energy, they've got so much to say, they've got so many questions to ask, and we have to just run after them and lie at them and talk to them and take their questions, and we're their encyclopedia, we're their Mr. Google, right? And if we say we don't know, they're like, but parents know everything. Parents know everything. But, it's when we get that break, it's always when they're asleep, right? My youngest, it's from the moment she opens her eyes in the morning to the moment she closes her eyes at night. It's blah, 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 blah. And then finally asleep, it's like, oh, she's actually really cute when she's asleep. But you try and take that at least once a week or once a fortnight, every 2 weeks, take a break. To just have a thing on your own. Right. Like for me, for instance, I love going in the outdoors. I love hiking. I love taking my children with me as well.
It has its days, it has its moments. Some days are very difficult and challenging depending on what happens, because life happens obviously. But one of the things that I've learned throughout these 9 years struggling with a mental health condition is this. We need to have work-life balance or work-life integration, right? 1 week, there are 7 days. You need time for yourself, you need time together, you need time with your other friends. You must invest this time. The other thing that it's really helpful is also to fix your sleeping habits, guys. It's so important. These are all really fundamental things that we know, but we don't necessarily do it, right? We've got to sleep by 11 p.m., right? This is when our body repairs itself. By 11 p.m., gotta go to sleep, bank in that 6 to 8 hours. 11 p.m. But that's the last hour. That's the last hour, and you've got to take care of your sleep hygiene. You can't go to bed at 11 and expect to go to sleep at 11, right? You got to go to bed at about 10. Shut your phones, preparing it. But leave the lights off, the television, laptops off, everything off, and just try to chill, right?
Put the phone away.
Put the phone away, definitely. And then of course, eat well and eat on time and eat nutritious food. These are all really basic things.
There's a huge correlation between your nutrition and your mental health.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's food for mood. So when you know the kind of foods that you're eating, especially the food that we're actually given today, is so processed, and it's imported and all these kind of things. You don't know what's been sprayed on them. It's really, really important to know what kind of food you're eating as well when it comes to your mental health.
Of course, definitely. I mean, we can cheat once in a while.
Yeah.
I think what is important is to really exercise, right? You can eat certain unhealthy things, but at the same time, you've got to exercise. And I think sweating it out. And there was a research done recently.
Nutritional balance too.
Right. If you move your body 15 minutes and 9 seconds, it actually helps to uplift your mood, right? So if you can just exercise, guys, 20 minutes, 3 times a week, that's really enough, right? So we've got to invest in exercising, and again, invest in hobbies. A lot of people say, Anita, I don't know what my hobby is. You've got to explore, right? Explore what you like, because don't follow your friends. Just because my friend likes this, I follow her. Just because my husband likes this thing, I follow him, right? So Find what helps you. Find what is therapeutic for you.
Yes, you
Find
need yours.
find what helps you to de-stress.
Yeah.
Right? So as you can see, there are a lot of things that I at least need to invest in so that I can take care of my mental health more effectively.
Yes.
And I think one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have typically is they think, oh, mental health is a binary situation, right? It's binary where either I have a mental health condition or I don't. But it's actually a spectrum, right? I mean, you can live with a mental health condition but still have good mental health. You might not have the mental health condition but have poor mental health, right? So it really depends on what you're doing to take care of your mental health, what happens in your life, right? And what your protective factors look like and what your risk factors look like.
And also, as an individual, be able to recognize what's happening to yourself as well. Like daily reflections are very important.
Definitely.
I feel that that's really important to be able to reflect on how I felt today, what did I do today, how I felt about them, was I happy about it, was I sad about it, was I angry, was I sad? You know, I think that's really, really important when it comes to recognizing yourself.
That's correct.
That's why people say journaling is very important, right?
It is.
I don't like to journal, but I like to self-reflect, and I do that with my children as well.
I think it really doesn't matter how you do it. What is important is to declutter what's up here, right? So that you can channel it out, right? Because you don't want to have it all up here, and then that's where your brain can shut, and then you can't sleep at night.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So that's like the approach that I do with my children every day is like, what are our 3 highs and what are our 3 lows of the day? What are the lows of what we wish we could change, or things that we could have made better. Maybe that's something tomorrow, maybe that's an achievement or a goal that we want to do tomorrow, right? To make those downs a little bit better.
Right.
And highs is something that we'd be really, really happy about. They never want to change it at all.
And celebrate the little things that we do, right? It might look little or seem little to other people, but it can be something really huge for us, right?
You know what, Puan Anita, that's one of the things that I feel that is very toxic about social media.
Yeah.
Because we compare ourselves to other people.
Of course.
And it's always like, oh, I wish I had what she had, I wish I could do what she could do, and all this kind of thing where it's like, when you said making those small things matter is very, very important, because you don't know that what's happening on social media. What's behind the camera, you don't know what's going on.
Right, and we don't know the struggles of people. I mean, I can share really quickly. When I was struggling, it took me 3 years to be able to hang my clothes outside. You know what I mean? Because it was such a struggle for me. I couldn't speak to another person, right? I lost that functionality. So maybe for someone else, we take things for granted, waking up in the morning, taking a shower or not, choosing a particular outfit, driving your car, or not, or taking the public transport. These are things that we take for granted. But for someone that is struggling with a mental health condition, or people with disabilities, these are really challenges in life. So please do celebrate the little things, because these little things will then become bigger and bigger things, guys. Yeah?
There was a question just now, was there?
Not yet. Yeah, I think you've got a question? Yes.
So my question is there what service that MIASA provide for parenting? Since you mentioned that some parents they are burnout. I even have some relative. I found out that they have a thought, for suicide. So and my friend also, she's divorced, so she has this thought also. I'm not sure how to respond. I'm even not sure how to tell them to go to MIASA, what kind of service that you provide.
All right, thank you very much, Amina, for the question. Yes, we have not elaborated or shared on the services that MIASA provides.
And an excellent question as well.
Thank you very much, Amina, for the question, and also about how you shared some of your friends do struggle with suicidal thoughts and also tendencies. Okay, now at MIASA, we strive to become a one-stop center. So we provide massive support. As an example, we've got mental health assessment, not a clinical one. We provide that as well. We do also provide clinical assessment. We provide counseling. We provide spiritual therapy. We provide peer support, family support. We also provide supported employment programs. A lot of times, right, people that are struggling with mental health conditions are not able to sustain jobs in competitive job environments, and so through our supported employment program, we support them from getting the job, going through that interview process, grooming skills, interview skills, everything till you get the job, and we also support them after they get the job as well until they're able to be independent again and feel confident. So these are the services that we provide. We do a lot of what we call outreach programs to various communities. As an example, homeless folks, orang asli, all these different communities that often enough they're left behind, and we don't give them enough support and help. Because obviously, when we talk about mental health, it's not merely a healthcare issue. It is a social justice issue, and until we're able to address that, not everyone's recovery journey is going to be effective, right? Because it's not just about health and mental health, right? It's about housing, it's about job opportunities, it's about transportation, social welfare, right? It's a lot of things. So these are some of the services that we provide at MIASA now. Pertaining to suicide, again, we've got our suicide intervention training, right? Which is suicide first aid. You can become a certified suicide first aider just going through a 2-day workshop. And this is a workshop carried out by us, but we were certified by Living Works Australia.
Yep.
40 years, guys, evidence-based, and they have trained more than 2 million people worldwide. And we run support group sessions, so for parents, caregivers, for people struggling with mental health conditions, you can come and reach out to MIASA. And what is really important is we run a 24/7 crisis helpline. If you are struggling, if you know of anyone who is struggling, our number is 1-800-1-800-66. 1-800 2 times 66. Very easy to remember. Please memorize it like how we memorize our mom's number. Okay? 1-800-1-800-66. That is our 24/7 crisis helpline, and we also have our WhatsApp crisis number as well, 97656-088. It is manned by our 200 crisis team trained.
Can you just imagine how
Volunteers.
everything has kind of expanded from the very beginning?
I know.
This crisis hotline,
Yeah.
amazing, mashallah.
Right, so there are a lot of things, and I know not everyone knows this. And again, there is a lot of help in the community, but if we don't really know it, we need to understand it, we've got to learn it, and we are here to help you navigate through all these different support services. Now, we've got a question.
Volunteer program. Does MIASA have a volunteer program for them?
Yes, we do. Now that is our modus operandi. We are all, majority of us, volunteers. We've got 1,800 volunteers across the nation. Our 24/7 crisis helpline is manned by our 200 crisis response team members which are volunteers as well. Please give them a big round of applause for helping Malaysians, for giving Malaysia hope, for giving Malaysians support, right? 24/7, guys, it's really a lot of work. And the majority of people that call the helpline typically go through a lot of different or various difficulties and suicidal tendencies, Sofia. So it's massive. It's not an easy job, and without them, a lot of people are not going to be able to get the help that they
That
need.
25% would be way, way more.
Right. And we need timely intervention, which I think is really important, which is not available, unfortunately, right now. You can go to a government hospital, you can go to a private hospital, right? But government hospital, typically, it's affordable, but the waiting time is long. Maybe, you can see a psychiatrist once a month,
Every 3 months.
right? A psychologist once every 2 months. And that is really the sad truth of it, right? You don't have the money, you're now living with a mental health condition, it's difficult for you to access services, and we need to do more. We would like to call the private sectors to come in.
Yes.
Please invest in mental
Yes.
health. Please prioritize mental health, especially for employees. We need more help, more money, more funding, and more support.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
So there we go. We've got lots of volunteer programs that are happening at MIASA. So do
Yes.
get in touch with anyone from MIASA. There's the social media handles. We have the website as well as the email address that you can get in touch with. which is info.miasa@gmail.com.
Yes. If you go to www.miasa.org.my, there is a tab for volunteer. Just click on that tab and you can sign up to be part of MIASA. Not just MIASA, again, this campaign, Your Mind, Your Journey, is a collaboration with Suria KLCC, with our supporting partners. Please check them out. Befriend Us Kuala Lumpur, the Malaysian Mental Health Association, Nyawa Green Ribbon Group, and of course, MIASA Malaysia. 5 organizations right here at the Center Court of KLCC, ready to help those of you who are struggling.
So if organizations like this can come together and talk about mental health and fight the stigma, so can you guys as well. All of us as a community, we can all create a big difference when it just comes to a little bit of knowledge about mental health and being able to create a domino effect on the awareness and also in breaking the stigma of mental health.
Definitely. Now, maybe we would like to ask if any of you have any questions at the moment. Ada soalan? Tak ada soalan. Any other questions on social media? Aisha, Arini? Awesome. Okay, all right. I think we've got 10 more minutes left. Okay, maybe we want to continue the discussion a little bit more. Now, parenting and mental health. We spoke about parents. We spoke about adults. We would like to now speak about kids. Okay. If we look at statistics, if we look at data, we are looking at children, teenagers. They are one of the more vulnerable groups, right? So they are more susceptible in getting a mental health condition. Kids today live with anxiety, right? A clinical diagnosis, right? Of anxiety disorder, of depression, right? Major depressive disorder. They've got, different challenges, adjustment disorders, and a lot of it was exacerbated because of the pandemic hit, obviously, right? Because they were cut off from their social support system, right? They weren't able to see their friends, they weren't able to do physical interaction within school learning systems, etc.
Just being stuck with their parents and their siblings, the same faces, the same four walls.
Every single day, and some schools during time, or many schools, or majority of schools, government schools especially, weren't ready to go to virtual learning. So as you we're in the 4th year of the pandemic already, or the endemic right now, but it has been 4 years, Sofia. How time flies.
It's been quick. I mean, the first 2 years was like, whoa, it's been 4 years.
4 years now, and now everyone is playing catch up. So we can see the roads are busier today, right? Lots of traffic.
I miss COVID traffic.
I know, me too. Ghost Town, we miss that quite a bit. But we don't miss the isolation.
Definitely.
We don't miss not being able to see our family and friends. We definitely don't miss that. But again, our kids have been struggling because of that.
Yes, of course, and it's also an energy thing, isn't it?
It
a lot
is.
of our bodies, we give and take a lot of energy, and being able to actually get that energy from this atmosphere, this environment itself is a huge difference in our
Right.
lives, doesn't it?
Right. So I hope as parents, not to say we want parents to be more lenient, but we want parents to be more understanding and to come from a place of empathy and compassion, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that as adults, we struggle. Imagine our kids, they're struggling even more,
And
right?
a lot of families were broken because of the pandemic as well. So
Exactly.
if couples can break, what more children, right? With their mental health and not being able to understand what's going on around them, why things are happening, and why they're not allowed to even just step outside the door.
Right. And I think one of the things that we're really hoping to see within school systems and also homes are really having that open conversation for children to feel safe to express themselves. Look, Mom, I don't feel really good. I don't feel like going to school. I feel really anxious. I go through palpitation when I'm taking that test. Being able to enable that conversation with our children is so important so that they feel helped and we know that something's not right and we can provide that early intervention.
But also it can be a way to call them out as well, because sometimes I need to also be able to mention this, that a lot of people are also taking advantage of that situation. So So being able to have that conversation and trying to understand why they're saying this and is it true or not.
Right. But either way, there's something's not right, right?
Exactly.
Because we don't want that perception where people are, or parents are dismissing their children, and children are having that conversation or saying, you're seeking attention, you're lazy, you're not trying hard enough, but really making them feel heard and seen.
It's very important to actually hear and look at them and be able to make them know that, because right now there's a big cry of attention.
Right.
There's I need you.
Correct.
But unfortunately, like what we see right now, a lot of people are on their phones, on their laptops, on the TV, and there's no recognition on what we're actually doing as an individual towards those children that are
So it's very important to spend that quality time with your kids, right? Not being on the phones. I know phones such a big distraction.
It really is.
But providing that quality or spending quality time with your kids and doing things outside of the house. I think that is how we can eliminate the usage of phones. Really important. And holding that space. One of the things that we encourage parents to do is to have a circle time session with their children, right? Where it's a safe space, just parents and kids, where it's just within that four walls of that circle saying, you can share whatever you wish and we're not going to be angry. We're not going to judge. We're just here to listen and hopefully provide you that support. And if you need any advice, any suggestions, we will be able to give it to you. We might not have all the answers, but we are here to support you and we've got your back.
And I think it's very important as a parent as well to be able to let your children know that, it could be a sporadic time where you can just let them know that if there's anything you want to talk about, if you feel that we're going to be angry, remind them that not to be angry. Tell us not to be angry. I need to talk to you. Please don't judge me, but you need to know. And the very fact that you're allowing them to actually open up that way and breaking that barrier on being to make us a little bit smaller, right? To allow them to actually express themselves openly without feeling judged. So when it's a time for them to I always try to remind my children to let me know when they want to say something, and if they think that I'm going to get angry, be like, Mommy, please don't get angry, but I need to tell you this. And it's very, very important that they did this and that we reminded them that they need to actually be able to speak openly to us.
Right. And so for those of you, children, teens, I know you guys are on social media, and especially right now, if you are now within, young adult, in college or university as an example, and if you've gone through any kind of trauma, please speak to someone. Please seek for that help before it gets too much. Now, take it from me, I'm a person living with a condition. If you are now going through something, if you're going through a mental health issue, don't wait until it develops into a mental health condition. Obviously, it's not a death sentence, but it's very difficult once you live with a mental health condition.
And it's the same thing when it comes to physical pain, physical health
Same
as
thing.
well. Like,
Yep.
you always wait to the last minute, and then there's nothing you can do about it. So you go for your regular checkups and all that kind of thing. Every 6 months, every year, depending on how old you are, the exact same thing when it comes to mental health as well. If you feel that there is something that you need to let out, if you need to reach out, do it when you already think that way. Don't do it when it's too late.
Right. Seek professional help. Talk to someone that you trust. Very, very important. There is a question from the audience. Yes.
Okay, hi, Miss Sofia and Puan Anita. So the first question saya nak tanya, selalu kalau orang kata berkenaan dengan mental health kan, okay, supposedly kita kena terdedah dengan campaign, kita kena terdedah dengan event, so kita jumpa orang. Tapi possibility, kalau katakanlah kita go through religion punya side, kita pergi ke arah macam Islamic punya value, adakah itu akan menjadi penyelesaian masalah bagi individu yang ada anxiety, depression, yang ada masalah mental health? Terima kasih.
Alright, terima kasih. Okay, soalan yang sangat penting sebenarnya. Apabila kita bercakap tentang isu kesihatan mental ataupun penyakit mental, terima kasih di atas soalan. Biasanya perbincangan itu berkait rapat dengan lemah iman. Betul? Banyak dosa, tidak solat, tidak membaca Quran. Dan bukan terhad kepada umat Islam, tetapi sebenarnya semua, tidak kira if you're a Christian, if you're a Hindu, you're always judged in that way because a mental health condition isn't regarded as a medical condition. Okay? Jadi sebenarnya bila kita bercakap tentang soalan Puan tadi ataupun Cik tadi adalah berkenaan agama Islam, jadi saya menjawab daripada perspektif agama Islam. Okey, sudah tentu membaca Quran, solat, berdoa, berzikir, pergi ke kelas agama, majlis ilmu sangat membantu sebenarnya. Tetapi sama seperti penyakit fizikal, kita perlu mendapatkan rawatan dan bantuan. Kita tidak boleh hanya kita fikir baca Quran boleh terus sembuh. Dia tidak begitu. Ikhtiar kita adalah semuanya. Jadi pendekatannya perlu satu pendekatan yang menyeluruh. Jadi apa yang kita panggil biopsychosocial dan juga spiritual. Membaca Quran obviously is healing, ya. Pergi ke kelas agama sangat membantu. Zikir-zikir sangat menguatkan kita. Agama menguatkan kita, memberikan kita jalan keluar dan kekuatan untuk melalui dan memahami sebenarnya ujian-ujian yang Allah SWT berikan kepada kita. Tetapi ikhtiar kita untuk merawat penyakit kita itu perlu. Jadi apa rawatannya? Kita berjumpa dengan pakar, betul? Pakar psikiatri untuk mendapatkan clinical diagnosa klinikal ataupun pakar psikologi. Tetapi pakar psikiatri ni bezanya dia boleh memberikan ubat-ubatan yang pakar psikologi tidak boleh. Kemudian boleh berjumpa dengan kaunselor, tetapi pendekatannya harus menyeluruh. Jadi perbetulkan, tadi saya dah sebut, perbetulkan pola tidur, pola pemakanan, berehat, stress sos kita cuba kurangkan, take a break, do things that you like, invest in hobbies kan. Belajar bagaimana nak berdaya tindak terhadap stres dan tekanan. Mekanisme coping kita itu bagaimana. Jadi kita perlu pelajari pelbagai perkara, barulah proses penyembuhan kita itu efektif.
I just nak tambah from that one when we talk about macam spiritual and also the nutritional, your mental and everything. There's something called the wellness field. So you have the physical wellness, you've got nutritional, you've got mental, you've got spiritual, social, all of it. There's a law, it's a wellness field. So kalau kita dapat balance all of those things, then there's a balance in our life. Kan? Financial wellness affects everything. Kan? Our mental wellness will affect everything. Our physical wellness will affect everything. So kalau we have a balance in that whole wellness field, baru we dapat berputar dengan betul. Kalau dia tak balance, and then dia macam pancit lah kan? Dia macam
Betul.
Very that. So I think it's very important kalau all the wellness pillars of wellness tu seimbang, baru kita dapat make a big difference in our whole life. So on top of the spiritual one, which is definitely very important sebagai seorang umat Islam, as well as any other religion juga yang ada, but I think every single pillar of wellness is very, very important when it comes to our well-being.
Betul. Dan mungkin saya boleh tambah sikit, saya kongsikan. Saya sendiri Puan dalam perjalanan kepada proses penyembuhan saya, sebenarnya kembali kepada agama merupakan satu komponen yang sangat membantu saya sebenarnya. Agar saya memahami kenapa sebenarnya Allah memberikan saya penyakit mental ni. What are the lessons that He is trying to teach me? Jadi dengan kesedaran itu, dengan memahami perkara-perkara tersebut, barulah lengkap orang kata komponen-komponen dalam proses penyembuhan saya. Dan sudah tentu kepada umat Islam yang individu-individu yang berjuang dengan pemikiran untuk mengakhiri kehidupan melalui bunuh diri dengan iman, okay? This is one of the ways that can prevent you from that unimaginable act of suicide. It must be grounded in the faith and iman in Allah SWT. Jadi tidak kira agama apa saja, sebab ini bukan sahaja saya yang cakap, ini sebenarnya ramai individu yang berjuang dengan penyakit mental. What hinders them or what stops them is actually that faith and that spirituality and that awareness of a higher being that prevents them from that unimaginable act of suicide. There is a question.
Alright, what should I do when I'm trying so hard but my kids still refuse to go to psychiatrist, refuse to go to a special school, refuse to go out, and he is so scared. So how should I help him?
Thank you very much for the question. I think a lot of parents go through this. It is a process. It will take time. I think it's important when we're not able to do that job, we need to ask for help. Now, when we ask for help, it must be somebody that, one, we trust, two, somebody that your kids look up to as well, and that's how they will be able to listen more effectively. Because it can't just be anyone, right? It can't be a stranger, it can't be someone that they don't know. It must be someone that they do trust and love, and that will make it easier for that process of seeking that help for your children to happen. You know, for me and my kids are the same. Sometimes they don't listen to me on certain things, but if their dad talks to them, they listen better. Or maybe my sister talks to them, they listen better on certain things. So we definitely can't do it alone, and we don't live alone. Kita duduk di dalam institusi kekeluargaan, di dalam institusi kemasyarakatan yang kita perlu saling, orang kata, bergantung ya di antara satu sama lain, so that we can do things better.
I just want to add on that and say that we are living in a world where parents fear parenting, where we forget that sometimes we are the parent and we always want to just be their friend. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us need to kind of like recognize the fact that yes, I want what's best for you, but at the same time, I am going to do what is best for you. Right? You know what I mean? Rather than you're gonna cry.
I totally relate and resonate
yes.
so much with what you just said, because there's always that fear that, especially when my kids are now teens, that whatever, when I become a little bit stern, that they would hate me, and that fear is always there. But at the end of the day, when I think back about when I was a teen as well,
we've gone through way worse when we were little compared to what our children.
Exactly. I mean, my kids are really good kids. I have to acknowledge that. Alhamdulillah. So I think, like you said, do what is best for them. They might not understand it now, but eventually they will. And we want to save them now before it's too late as well.
And that's something like I need to just say that within my family as well, when my family member was a lot younger and was actually told to actually be in an institute because she needed mental health help. And her parents said, no, I don't want her to be in there. Now, there's a lot of regret 30 years later, wishing that she had let her stay in the institute for her to get help so that she'd come out hopefully a lot better. So if you don't do anything now, when that help is, when they're young enough to be able to make that change, that 20, 30, 40 years down the line, there will be no regret because you did what was best for that child now.
Maybe that was more of a community help place, right? Because institutions isn't a place for people to get better, definitely. These are places that we would wish to close down forever. Yes. Oh, there's one more question. Go ahead. Back then, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. This is not regarding parenting, but I was intrigued when you mentioned something about getting assistance, professional help. So one thing that I realized is that I'm still struggling with, even though I've done that part, I took that step already, but there are stigmas around psychiatric medication, especially among peers, especially even though they are peers, they experience the same thing, but everyone keeps telling me about to stop, like, that's not good for you, medication's not good for you. So I just want to hear what you guys think about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that's a very important question. One of the FAQs always. What is the view in taking medication now? Being a peer group, where MIASA, obviously we are people with lived experience, people living with the condition. You need all the components for you to go through that recovery process effectively. That might mean taking medication or not. Now, for us at MIASA, our stand is it must be informed decision and informed consent, right? So as doctors, as an example, because they're the ones prescribing the medication, it must be a supported decision making. That means that decision must be made by you, must be made by the client, right? So when you go into the doctor's office, what is important is have that discussion. Ask the right questions. What is this medication for? What are the side effects of this medication? How long do I need to take this medication for? I have reservations in taking medication. Can you please advise me on this? So do your own research, right? Learn about it as well, and that decision must be yours to take. Despite whatever the doctor says, and I'm not saying don't take your medication, I'm saying have that conversation and learn about it as well. Because nothing that we do should be forced upon us, because we are the people living with the condition. So trust yourself in that process. Okay? So whatever your peers might say, you're the one going through it, right? If that medication helps you, go ahead and take it. But don't rely on medication alone, right? Take that medication and sleep well. Take that medication, exercise. Take that medication and invest and do your hobbies. Take that medication but build your support system. So not just medication alone, and not everyone needs medication. So have that conversation, learn, and build that support system and go through that recovery process from a holistic approach. I think that's...
Yeah, I just want to add on to that one, because you say that it's not related to parenting, whatever. It's almost exactly the same as parenting.
It
The
is.
advice that we're getting as a parent, every parent has their own different types of advice. Every parent has an opinion. The same with medication. Everyone has an opinion on what you should and should not do. But like Puan Anita said, you are the person that is dealing with this. It's not your peers. It's not those people outside. It's you. Make your informed decision. Do your own research. Sometimes it's just to speed up the process to make things better, and then there are other alternatives after that, right? So it's to make things better, and then there's that sustainability of things, to be able to make that sustainability in a lower intake of different things that you need to take.
So yeah, so you do you, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, alright Sofia, I think we're out of time. Yes, and we are really happy for all the support from everyone above and here. And of course, those of you that have joined us online via Instagram since 5:30 p.m. Yes. So thank you very much, Sofia. Yes, I would like to once again say thank you so much, and a big shout out to Suria KLCC for bringing the mental health conversation right here at the Center Court. This is a collaboration with Suria KLCC for Your Mind, Your Journey, a conversation on self-care and mental health with our supporting partners. Once again, let me say them out. Befrienders Kuala Lumpur, the Malaysian Mental Health Association, MIAWA, the Green Ribbon Group, Body Shop, we've got Estee Lauder Group of Companies, and also Babel. Thank you so much everyone for joining us. Please take care of your mental health and take care of one another. Signing off from KLCC, Suria KLCC, Sharifah, Sofia, and Anita. Thank you very much everyone. Take care and have a good week ahead.
Have a good rest of the weekend.
Yes.